Yeah, it's an interesting hero to go for. I think it pairs well nicely with both the Earth and the Ember Spirit. Of course, having the chain set up for the Blood Right, as well as being able to boulder smash them around once they're ruptured. But it's interesting that they almost decidedly rush it here. I think that maybe with their carry bans, they're assuming that Angel isn't going to want to play into a Bloodseeker, so we could see him go on something slightly more defensive. But again, the keyword here is I feel like it is just a little bit rushed because in a very similar scenario, you could just pick Pale Horse's hero here, take another one away from Angel's pool, and they've gone for the Beastmaster. I like what Arkosh have gotten so far. Again, activity is the name of the game, and they've definitely accomplished that way more in this draft than I think any of the rest that have been played today. But Thunder Predator, they recognize again very easily you don't have that much wave clear. You have Blood Right, so they are going to try and push that advantage as much as they can in this final phase.
And that's something that Arkosh are going to have to be very much aware of because, well, you have a high activity level, but if you're allowing Thunder Predator to then push out your waves and get damage onto your towers, then you won't have the map control that you need to follow up on that aggression and sort of keep the pressure on. So they do still have their final pick that presumably is going to be Pale Horse's hero. That could sort of solve some of those issues for them, but we'll have to wait and see. And before we get to that point, both sides going for that position 1 role right now. Drow and Morph banned out by Arkosh Thunder Predator took away that TB, which really is kind of the best carry that Arkosh have been able to find so far. And they've taken that one out. Wouldn't be surprised if that kind of just shuts down Arkosh's probably plan A already. But we'll have to see what exactly they can come up with. They have tried, I believe, this. Yeah, they tried the Sven before, but I don't know. Sven into maybe this degree of lockdown from Thunder Predator could get a little bit iffy, but they've got to try and think of something. Unless, do they want to try and move the Bloodseeker to the carry role at this point, ET?
Yeah, that's always an option that Arkosh could go for if any hero just screams coming in from monkeys, but I also feel like they might be looking at heroes like the Weaver, like the Naga Siren. We saw Thunder Predator ban the Naga Siren versus them in the previous draft for a very good reason. I think it's a little bit hard for them to pull off here. We could also very well see them go for a hero like the PL, which is always looming because you look at all these very direct carry bans. These are all carries that can eventually start to hit those towers. I think from both of these carries, we're going to see someone go for that more farm-oriented style and someone try to be a little bit more aggressive. And that's where Arkosh, at least, typically have gone for the farming route and then ended up in a pretty rough situation. I don't think you can really pick Ursa all this early, especially into Beastmaster, which is something that they've gone for before, but it's really hard to find a hero aside from one of those illusion carries. I feel like they want something like the Naga just to lane up nicely versus the Beastmaster.
And I mean, it is available. That final ban came against the Troll Warlord, which I don't really know if any team is really looking to the Troll all that significantly in the current meta, but well, Thunder Predator at least going to show it a little bit of respect. It was sort of all the rage in the past, and in the right circumstances could still be an issue for them to deal with. But with the Troll taken away, those options you mentioned are still there. The Naga Siren can be picked up. The Weaver is still in the pool. So question is, what do they want to run here? They've got plenty of time to think it over as well. Since we went so quickly through the earlier stages of the draft, that reserve pool is largely untouched. So Arkosh are going to take a little bit of time to think things over. And I feel like whatever they pick here, as we were sort of mentioning, the Naga and the Weaver sort of splits the line between durability and maneuverability. I figured they had to sort of pick one or the other. Instead, they really don't choose either. With the sniper pickup, he doesn't move all that much, and he's not the tankiest of heroes, but what he lacks on that front, he does potentially make up for in damage output.
Yeah, and of course, name a more iconic dude than NA teams in picking safe lane sniper in desperate situations. The only problem is I feel like Thunder Predator could just get a Spectre if they really wanted to. Of course, it did get pretty heavily nerfed. The cooldown on that spell definitely changed in a very negative way, but again, versus Sniper, I feel like that type of playstyle might be invaluable. The hero I was thinking in the back of my mind, if Arkosh did end up going for the PL or the Naga, then very simply Thunder Predator go for the Sven, but what do they go for now?
Oh,
Okay, the CK, a complete different direction, but I guess that hero will lane up slightly better versus the Bloodseeker, but okay. they have definitely made this a battle of whether or not Thunder Predator can run and get on top of this sniper, where Arkosh are banking on their inability to do so.
And yeah, the CK does give you maybe a little bit on that front if you can sort of go for that bolt into reality rift combo. Then Pale Horse could be pulled out of position pretty quickly, and at that point, Thunder Predator could just collapse onto him for the kill. But that is assuming that your Chaos Knight gets close enough to do that in the first place, which obviously Arkosh are going to be doing everything they possibly can to avoid. So yeah, it really does feel like they've put so much emphasis on that sniper now, and they're forcing both teams to really look at him as the focal point in all of these fights.
Yeah, they're going to have to be incredibly cautious, and that's where the positioning is going to be key. And I think, if anything, this pickup is really nice for Thunder Predator because you look at Arkosh's lineup, and they, yet again, don't have a frontliner. It's on the same vein as that Darkseer game where the Bloodseeker is fantastic when you have someone else that's going in for you. That's why it works so well for Oscar, because you had Dark Mago really being the one going in, tanking a lot of spells for your team, and then not really getting killed in those situations where you really don't have that front line here. And that's where, again, the snowball effect is going to need to come into play for this Earth Spirit. If that can be your frontliner, then this lineup makes a little bit more sense. But as soon as Monkeys get shoved into that role, this game might start to look a little bit grim for them.
Well, they are, excuse me, wow, rolling the dice a little bit here, trying to come up with something different because, well, I mean, through 6 matches so far, they've only come away with the lone victory against D2 Hustlers. So they are attempting a bit of a shift in terms of that strategy, and if it works out, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, what was sort of going your way before, or what you were trying before, wasn't really doing you any favors either. So we'll see what they can find here as they get the Nightmare down into the Bloodright, into the Shrapnel. It's a nice bit of early damage onto Matthew, and they should be able to find that first kill, as First Blood will go their way. But you do see the response from Thunder Predator. They want to push in, but another Shrapnel charge will be used, a third even being thrown down here. So maybe they could get onto another hero at this point. Gremlo would need the Nightmare again, though, presumably, and he doesn't have it for a few more seconds. So they're trying to keep someone in range. And Gremlo, does he actually go for it? The Rebuke is going to kind of push him a little bit too far out of range, so it looks like Arkosh won't make the attempt, but they were able to get First Blood, and they're set up now to maybe steal a rune or two, so that is an excellent opening. And I just now realized, look at Gremlo. He is holding 4 Fairy Fires right now. Okay.
Yeah, that is the man's got 8 damage. That is 8 damage right there, and he's got Nightmare level 1 too. So you're not banking on that brain sap. Okay, gets it immediately lifted up by the boar, but oh, Gremlo, as soon as the boar get back, okay, be careful, dude.
Pale Horse is coming over. Okay, that's going to make things a little bit safer. And actually, they might just kill off that. Nope. Okay, nice play from Matthew. Able to deny it, but that does take a boar out pretty early. And I mean, it's a pretty long cooldown there. So Oscar may not have that initial, oh god, initial harassment. But Gremlo, that's a bit of an awkward path, just walking past those 2 heroes. But now we see why he came to the lane with so much regen. He is just looking to duke it out from the absolute start of this match.
Yeah, he is looking for the battle. The big way they win this bottom lane is just if you can get Oscar, honestly, underneath a level 2 Shrapnel, it's very hard for him to lane, and Gremlo's doing a really good job of getting aggressive here. Unfortunately, Shrapnel doesn't really end up hitting, but that's also where, as long as you can keep this wave back, it is going to get very difficult, and something that Matthew is either going to need to ditch, or he's going to need to look at that large camp. Something that Gremlo didn't actually get to block, because he does have so many Fairy Fires, didn't have too much gold for those sentries, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, he can have that delivered out to him, some sort of obs or sentry. So for now, it might just come down to, once it's cleared out, maybe just trying to body block it later on. But he is so in for these fights. Look at this. They're going after Oscar. That's 2 shrapnel charges used, and he's dead. Oscar has no way out. He actually has no items. He's sitting on a Quelling Blade, and that was it. So the naked rush for that helm is something, honestly, that the Beastmaster tends to do pretty often. But if you aren't in control of that lane, there's the trade-off. You now have absolutely nothing to defend yourself if the aggression comes in, as Gremlo, damn, alright, he's just going to keep on going, goes for the courier snipe and walks away as well.
Yeah, and at the same time, you look at Pale Horus. Of course, he's playing Radiant, so he just pulls the creep wave behind his tower, and now all of this is going to get denied. Meanwhile, Gremlo is just trying to be as obnoxious as he can. But there are a lot of creeps, and now Oscar is missing out. He's still level 1. I think he's going to get level 2 here on this creep, but Still, it's an unideal situation, and once you get a lot more of that magic damage coming in from the sniper, again, being a melee offlaner just kind of blows versus sniper.
Meanwhile, Angel getting a little bit aggressive up in the top lane alongside Panda. They tried to get onto Monkeys, but Crow, a nice play coming in there, gets the kick that's going to force that CK back, but this is something that they need to be a little bit concerned about, something that the CK always brings to the table. He can hit you up once he has the point in the reality rift, and, well, as of right now, he doesn't have the rift, so Monkeys and Crow, they're actually trying to go in onto Panda. Monkeys was taking so much damage. There's the Chaos Bolt, in for the stun. Panda gets the DOT, and it's Monkeys forever who will end up dying. Meanwhile, I believe that was a deny? Yeah, Gremlo just walked to the tower. Okay.
Yep, just wanted to get his mana back. He was already pretty low there. But look at them. Oscar just took so much damage.
Nightmare is in. Cookie, good play from Matthew, but it almost wasn't enough. He gets away with about 20 HP. But they will be able to fall back. But this lane, it's going so terribly for Oscar. You look at the last account for him, he's sitting at 7 with the 2 denies. He does have the helm now, so it's going to make it a little bit easier for him to sustain in this lane, but this feels like a situation where the sniper already has pretty much everything he wants out of this scenario.
So need to be careful on the wrap here. Yeah, he's really far up.
Okay, wow. Everything he wants except for the backup. Gremlo's not there and he's too far forward, but look at the damage that Oscar's taking. Pale Horse, I mean, he dies, but they'll trade it out, and Matthew may go down as well. He's going to try and sneak his way into the tree line, but Gremlo can just keep on chasing, and Matthew, he really has nowhere to go. He's just going to die to the tower. He will fall. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Monkeys and Crow make the jump onto Angel. They'll clean up Panda as well, so the early aggression coming out from Arkosh said they needed to maybe change something up, and this up-tempo style is really working in their favor right now.
Yeah, this is the biggest gold lead I think I've seen Arkosh have so far, aside from the one game that they won, but even then, it looked pretty rough for 90% of that match. But this is looking really good for them, and especially Crow being able to play kind of single-mindedly in the top lane versus Panda Boo. It's a lot more difficult to gank that Mars, so instead he's just trying to play on the silencer while it's still easy for him to kind of feed, because Panda Boo doesn't have boots. Unfortunately, yeah, that is going to happen in the top lane once you have to rotate
stuns,
out.
They've got the crits, and Monkeys did not have his backup. So Crow had to leave, and Thunder Predator are able to take advantage of that. But now, see Crow actually making his way mid. This is looking like a bottle refill initially, but if they could pull Dark Mako a little bit further forward, he does have the roll and 2 points up in the Boulder Smash, so
Want to get him under tower.
They don't have Searing Chains, though. That's going to make it a little bit more complicated because they won't have that follow-up control. They're going to try for it anyway. The roll doesn't connect, though, but it was worth an attempt. And speaking of attempts, what's going on here? Gremlo getting chased into the river. This is both Matthew and Oscar, though, chasing after it, so even if Gremlo dies, Pale Horse is just farming away, and Gremlo's not even going to go down. He just outruns him.
In mid. Oh, is Dark Mako actually going to get this? I don't think he has enough. Okay. Some misplays.
Here comes Matthew, though. If he can get the cookie stun. Yep, there it is.
That's
stun
crazy.
Comes in, spear comes through, and Dark Mako couldn't get it under his own power, but his teammate comes in to help out. But up in the top lane, Monkeys and Crow jumping in onto Panda, able to turn that into a trade. Not a great trade, mind you, but it is a trade. But if they can continue maybe trying to pressure up Angel here, then slowing down the CK is always going to be a problem. As we mentioned the last time we saw this hero, Angel on the CK, he doesn't flash farm. He's not just going to be able to sort of clear through any sort of camps, any sort of stacked play. So slow him down now, make progress towards that first item a little bit slower than anticipated, and your CK is going to have to spend a lot of time in the jungle.
Yeah, and for Crow, well,
Spirit connects. Cookie stun in as well, and yeah, Crow just has no opportunity. He could try for the...
he's out.
Oh, what? I thought Matthew was going to sort of stay in front to get the cutoff there, but he doesn't, so Crow walks away, and now his teammates, they're looking to push in for a fight. Does Gremlo have the mana for anything? No, he does not. So Dark Mako is going to be able to walk away, but they don't lose anything either. They managed to get the Earth Spirit out, and Monkeys is chasing Panda. The Blood Right's going to be thrown down, so Panda Boo has to change direction, but Monkeys is just continuously sort of nipping at his ankles here, and I think he should be able to get this. 1 or 2 more hits, salve canceled, and he's got it. That was quite the chase, but there wasn't really anything to stop Monkeys Forever from going after it.
yeah, it's still really hard, but at least they are still doing a lot versus the silencer. At least they're still getting his death going, and this is quite the big setup.
Nightmare. Cookie doesn't actually... Oh, okay. Cookie doesn't push him out, but he's able to pull the Nightmare away from himself. That gets him out of the Blood Right. And Crow will fall. Canis Vulpus, meanwhile, gets picked off in the middle lane. But up top, Monkey's he's trying to lay out for the kill onto Matthew, and he does manage to get it. But now they don't have any means of dealing with the Chaos Knight.
Yeah, unfortunately, back to that mid lane, Dark Mago just got him whenever he was looking for a Remnant reset. He was just a little bit too low. It was a pure solo kill, just greediness from Canis Vulpus, unfortunate to say. And then same in the top lane, that was just really well played from Matthew. Just the cookie into taking off the sleep. It even dodges out the Phantasm, or dodges the rollout with the Phantasm. It's just really clean from Thunder Predator. It's what you always talk about. At least a lot of pressure has been brought off of the Sniper, who is still undoubtedly winning his lane. This is a much slower Helm of the Dominator timing than I think Oscar is used to, but that's also where, once the ganks start happening, you already see them making a rotation towards bottom. They know how far up Pale Horse is with the Hawk. Well,
Look at the boar even wrapping around, getting the slow in first. So Pale Horse has no room to maneuver. He's just going to get hit up by the spear stun. The cookie will be there as well for the follow-up, and that is just a straight-up clean gank. Oscar sends the boar around. Dark Mago and Matthew rotate in, and that's the kill they needed onto Pale Horse. Try and slow that sniper up a little bit, but you take a look at the other side of the map, this is the north side jungle, you know, ostensibly Thunder Predator's side, but it's actually Arkosh who are taking the stacks.
yeah, this is a really nice move from them. They do have really good wards spotting it out, so there is the rotation coming in from TP, so you got to be a little bit careful here.
Panda's dropping pretty low, though. Can they get him away in time? Oh, okay. Defensive Nightmare, actually, not defensive, but Nightmare comes through. Panda does still go down, but Gremlin will be traded out. Thunder Predator go any further at this point? They're kind of eyeing up Crow on the Earth Spirit, but he's got the roll, so they would need either a Chaos Bolt or some sort of crazy Reality Rift play, and I don't think they have it right now. So Crow able to walk away, and at this point, if you're Angel, this is kind of just wasting a little bit of time. You'd rather just fall back and continue to farm up as opposed to chasing after an Earth Spirit.
Yeah, it's still going to be very difficult to play into it, but they are doing the moves that they need to do. Once Pandaboo hits level 6, that's where he breaks up your initiation. You get a little bit too ahead of yourself. Oh, top. So close.
Connected, but now Monkeys wants to turn. They've got Gremlo here, and Panda...
Really nice.
Yeah, you rupture a silencer, he is not going to be moving. And now they're actually pushing forward. Look at the roll in from Crow. Heads up maneuver onto Matthew. He does manage to get the Scatter Blast down onto 3, but the Nightmare is going to reset the fight. Canis Vulpus is coming in, and Matthew really has nowhere to go. Sleight of Fist gets the kill, and boy, I mean, if they know Angel's up here, they could look for that fight as well. Crow's got the roll back up. They just need... Actually, I was going to say they need the vision. They had a ward there the whole time, so they did know Angel was there. They just didn't really want to pull the trigger on pushing in onto him. Maybe if they had the Fiend's Grip up, but Gremlo is just the tiniest bit of experience short of that.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate, and they're actually making plays on the runes. We see so often the heavy rotations. Dark Mago actually pulls it, which is kind of funny. He's got an illusion rune now to play with, which could get him out of some hairy situations, especially when Crow is there with the silence, but really now, the most important thing for both sides is defending their towers. Monkeys is doing a good job of playing versus Oscar, who, of course, got that Helm of the Dominator. You start to explode in the farm. It is very difficult to hold these towers, especially with the carts meeting here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to make their plays going forward, because there are 2 heroes smoked in the mid lane, when I think they really should be bottom. Dive is here.
Look for Monkeys. They hit him up with the Roar. There is a TP coming in from Gremlo. He's going to throw down that Fiend's Grip onto Oscar. Pale Horse actually TP'd in as well, so there's going to be the shrapnels being deployed. Oscar does get taken down, so it's a 1-for-1 trade for the time being, but the reinforcements are coming in from Arkosh. Canis, Vulpus, and Crow onto Panda on that sort of north side line. They will be able to bring him down, and now Dark Mago, he is completely alone, and that, as you said, ET, it's perfectly executed. They do lose Monkeys, but he lays out the trap, and they turn it into a 3-for-1 trade.
And it's an unfortunate situation where Crow wants to be the one to hold that tower. If he ends up getting dove, it's a lot easier for everyone else to make that play. But that's also where I think Monkeys is very satisfied with the way his life was spent. In addition to that, that was just timed out perfectly. That was before Pandaboo was actually able to get that tome. If a global goes out there, they lose the Bane, they lose Monkeys, and then TP walks up and they somehow escape that. But I think striking whenever Pandaboo's level 5, it's just the perfect. That's the one grip you get for free in this game, and they hit their mark.
Yeah, they needed to hit it, they got it, and now that lead is pushed a little bit further forward, so the progress is coming for them. They're up by about 3k at this stage of the game, so very much, I think, probably the best situation we have seen from Arkosh to this point in the event. You mentioned earlier on in the game that they won, they were losing for 80, 90% of that match before they sort of pulled it out with that TB, so it is nice to see them trying to create some momentum earlier, but Dark Mago, yeah, he is going to go for that kill. Gremlo should be taken down here. Cookie in from Matthew just to make sure that he's not going anywhere. So they do find the pick, but that's Dark
Oh,
Mago
and
using the
monkeys.
arena as, yeah, up top, monkeys. That's a little too far, maybe. He's trying to get himself out of here, but Angel just needs to keep eyes on him. He's got the rift up in about 1 more second, so realistically, if he can keep eyes on him, which he can't right now, Monkeys is somehow getting away.
He's
Giving
so
him the
fast.
old juke. And down bot, they're able to push it onto Oscar as well. Crow does have to trade himself out, but they will find that kill, and I mean, that's perfect. You get a trade down bot, and you manage to get Monkeys Forever away from the push up top, so everything kind of falls into place for them. That's a pretty solid move from the Arkosh side.
Yeah, Thunder Predator are actually really splitting themselves up pretty thin. I'm surprised that Dark Mago doesn't sync up with his Beastmaster to actually take that tower. I think he thought it was handled, but that's where the incredibly high-level supports on Arkosh are really potent. They're really setting up a lot of these engagements, and of course it's pretty fancy footwork from Monkeys Forever to survive top, but he's also going for a carry build. They've got 2 Maelstroms being built up on both their cores, and if they can just farm to victory, that'll definitely be the play. Matthew,
Jump in onto
kicked.
Matthew. Yeah, the kick is just, yeah, it's pretty much going to do it. Everyone else just kind of holding back, realizing Crow can finish that off by himself. Now they're in a position to push for the tower, but Angel, you see him coming in. He wants to fight. Reality rifting his way forward, but that Nightmare
Oh,
just
perfect.
shuts it all down.
And the
Silence
silent.
onto Mago. They're not going to get anything here, or maybe they are. Global is going to be deployed. They kill Crow, but well, what else can they get? Angel's going to push his way forward. They get onto Gremlo with the Bolt and the Reality Rift, but Angel, he jumped into the middle of that fight, so now there's no way for him to get back out. Angel trades himself for a support. Panda is now just going to get run to death as Monkeys wanted the kill. Not going to get it yet, but the Searing Chains come through. The DOT won't be enough. But look at Monkeys. He wants it. He is not giving up on it. The Blood Right is going to be there. Panda is not fast enough to get out. Monkeys Forever will find the kill. Now they're back to that push on the tier 1. Just an incredible amount of sort of discipline and focus right now from Arkosh. A far cry from what we saw from them in game 1, but the different lineup is really affording them these opportunities. Oh, Dark Mago, that's a good blink. The problem is Gremlo's faster on the draw with the Fiend's Grip. Mortimer Kisses fly through, so Pale Horse gets traded out in exchange. That's going to make that a pretty solid trade for the Thunder Predator side, but they still do need to defend this tower because here comes Crow rolling his way in, gets down the slow, no silence just yet. So Matthew's going to turn around looking for the Cookie Stun. Panda now TPs his way forward as well, but they need actual damage right now. With just the supports, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot. Matthew just gets hit up by the Rupture. Panda will die. And Oscar... is that going to be enough? Yes, it will. Arcane Curse ticks down Crow, but 2 for 1 on the supports, and the tier 1 was finished off. So Arkosh, they just keep on marching forward.
Yeah, they continue to get very good trades for their side. It feels like they are continuously getting exactly what they want. And really, it's a hero play from Dark Mago, trading out his life for Pale Horses there. But it's also just so quick. I think at the beginning of all of that, Dark Mago ran up to the high ground just hoping that Pandaboo would be, I think, a little bit more ready with the global silence, because as soon as that silence comes through from Crow, it ruined it. That's what sparked everything there. Dark Mago died so early in that first initial engagement, and that's what kind of made everything look horrible for them. In addition to that, Pale Horse just sat there and A-clicked all of Oscar's creeps, and for a team that, again, doesn't have creep clear, if he's just able to solely focus it down, he was never afraid of getting roared until they had to spend everything on that spear down to the low ground, and that's just not how you want to execute on Thunder Predator's side. Not to mention, once Angel is in, he is in. There is no Blink Dagger, there are no Force Staffs, they're very immobile on their heroes, so if they mess up their jump, the punish is always going to be there.
Yeah, that we saw that in the fight. Angel just went all the way in, I believe, to take down Gremlo on the Bane, and he gets that kill. Cool, but now how do you get out? There's 3 heroes hacking away at him, and yeah, he has 0 movement whatsoever. He has no BKB, anything along those lines to protect himself, so this is going to be a problem. And now we go back to that previous point with the CK. You don't exactly farm at the rate of some of the other heroes. You take a look at him, he's the highest net worth on his team, but 1600 behind Canis Vulpus, nearly 2k behind Pale Horse on the Sniper, and that's not a gap that he can just decide to close in the next couple of minutes. It's just not really going to work out that way for him, so they have to try and remain on the offensive in order to close that gap, as Dark Mago's going to try to push it onto Gremlo. Nightmare gets taken away by Matthew, so they can continue pushing their way forward. They've got the Centaur in for the War Stomp as well. And they do take Gremlo down, but at the end of the day, it's good coordination, but that's 3 heroes to kill the position 5 of the opposing side.
Yeah, it's a very forward position, but this will allow them to breach onto the high ground. No matter how many heroes are, gonna get killed by that smoke, it's very easy for them to just come here. Arkosh are looking for the fight, if anything, but they need to be so careful. All it takes is one collapse, one cookie landing on the sniper, and you're probably just going to get picked off. But the spirits are hunting. They're looking in the back. They want to get this fight still.
He's and Crow looking for their opening, but this is always sort of the thing here. In order for there to be a flank, there has to be a front line in the first place, and we don't really see that just yet, but now it looks like Oscar's going to be the one to make the move. Going in with the Roar, they are going to be able to take down Crow, but Oscar, he's pretty much dead to rights here. The Global Silence, though, is actually going to help keep him alive for a little while longer, and now Matthew deploying those Mortimer Kisses into the arena, but Canis Vulpus jumps out with the Remnant. Can he survive? It looks like for now the answer is yes, but they're losing other heroes. Gremlo gets taken down, Monkeys Forever falls, Pale Horse gets hit up by the Spear Stun, pulled back in by the Reality Rift, and Angel will take him down. So Arkosh, they responded relatively well at first, but they kind of respond to the wrong hero's initiation, and the Thunder Predator just pushed their way forward for a huge teamfight win.
Yeah, it was an incredibly quick reaction from Oscar, just going for the immediate roar onto the Earth Spirit, and then Gremlo tried for the Nightmare onto the Centaur, so that way he doesn't actually get taken out. But okay, Darkmago just gets a cheeky kill on the Canis Vulpus. He doesn't react in time. But then, again, back to top, it's just, as soon as that all goes down, you kite away from your own vision. There was so much high ground vision from both teams there. It felt like in any situation, Arkosh should have been able to take that fight, but that's when you also realize that aside from the Rupture and the Blood Red getting cast down, this Earth Spirit is really your key team fight hero, and now they're all walking underneath the Thunder Predator vision.
Bro just walks into that one. He's going to get stunned up, silenced as well, and no one else is here in time. There is going to be a shrapnel thrown down. Panda's mostly out of it, though, but the Nightmare did catch Matthew, but they're very concerned. If they go all in on Matthew, they know there's likely to be a counterplay, and there it is. Darkmago jumps in, throws the spear, doesn't get the landing with the stun, but they still have to back off because Pale Horse on the other side did get hit up. And now Crow does get taken down. DD Darkmago blinking in, and at this point, decision time for Thunder Predator. Do we push any further forward here, or do we let Arkosh go? And it looks like it's going to be the latter. They don't have the CK even on the same side of the map, but hold up. They caught Canis Vulpus. He was still sticking around, bot, just looking for maybe an extra creep wave, that little bit more farm. He thought he was safe, but 4 heroes collapse, and that is going to make that rotation really more than worth it, but they're not done. They're going to smoke up here. 4 heroes rotating their way towards mid. They do have eyes on Gremlo, while Angel, he just solo killed Monkeys in the top lane, and now that leaves Gremlo completely alone mid. They're going to remove the Nightmare from him. Darkmago pushes forward for the Spear Stun. They've got the last word on him as well, so he's silenced up. And Gremlo will die. This is just turning into an absolute disaster. Now Angel, he's caught another. He's in onto Crow. Reality Rift pulled him back out of his own role, and everything Arkosh had spent the last 15 to 20 minutes building is just slipping through their fingers.
Yeah, it's just the independent play coming out from everyone, and unfortunately, as soon as that threat really gets taken away from you, suddenly Oscar starts taking that side of the map. They even scan Pale Horse, so he needs to be so careful right now because he is getting surrounded.
Where can he even go at this point, though? He doesn't have a Force Staff. The TP's canceled, and he's just dead. It's... I don't know if we've seen this rapid of a shift in momentum for a little while, or at least not so far in this Pro Series, because this has just been the course of 4 or 5 minutes that has seen Thunder Predator just completely and totally shift control into their own hands, and now Gremlo and Crow, you gotta be so careful.
And it really has just been the inability for Crow and Gremlo to continue to find those plays. It feels like they've really been grasping at straws, and
Are you serious?
Angel even just gets a solo kill on the bottom lane. He's just playing near the tree line, so there's no way for the Ember to react to that Chaos Bolt. It's just such an unfortunate situation now because, again, the map gets cut off from you. You look at the Arkosh heroes, they're unable now to get to the bottom lane, which is why I think the Ember Spirit was playing there in the first place, because they can feel the weakness starting to affect their gameplay. But the tower just falls. It's incredibly easy, and now we need actual items. You look at everyone just scrambling for BKBs now in Arkosh because they're unable to fight. They've got 4 BKBs queued up, and if they don't win the fight after those 4 BKBs are set up, then there really is no good way for them to get back into this game.
Just feels like they're getting pushed into that sort of desperation territory in terms of the fights, in terms of the itemization. So, yeah, as you said, this is kind of their last call. If this does not work, there's not much else that they're going to be able to reasonably pull off unless they can just magically draw this one out another 15 to 20 minutes. As Dark Mago, jumping in, looking for Gremlo, hits him up with a spear stun. Needs a little bit of backup, though, to find this kill. He does have it now. Matthew's coming in. Ooh, okay, that cookie is a little bit off the mark, but it's not going to matter. Gremlo still gets picked off. Meanwhile, Angel just ignored the fight entirely and went after the tier 1.
Yeah, it's so difficult now. Every single time you're going to show, you look at the vision that after really just those 2 or 3 deaths have now been placed, is the entire reason why they look for that scan for the sniper in the top lane is because they have these really tight wards that are just catching you in these little choke points for heroes that were pretty confidently farming before on the Arkosh side. Like, look at how scared they are. They feel they need to put the Earth Spirit behind Monkeys Forever top because there's no real way for him to ever push out anything too safely. And that's where maybe this triple Maelstrom setup is going to start to be a regret because you aren't getting really any of those utility items coming out from anyone. They're so reliant on their spells hitting at this point in the game. They have to be feeling the pressure.
We do see the first of those BKBs, though, coming into play as Canis Vulpus was able to pick one up. So if the Ember can sort of, I mean, at this point, just keep himself alive and keep himself with his team. This has been the problem. They've hit him up 2, 3 times alone in that sort of, in that bottom lane area. So yeah, if he can maintain some safety, but they are operating under their opponent's wards, and there's going to be the jump in. They get quickly onto Gremlo, so no Fiend's Grip, no Nightmare. And Arkosh, they don't want to play. They want to just back themselves off there, and now I think they know there is something up here. I mean, they already put the sentry, but they don't have the actual vision. But that's going to be the play every time. If Dark Mago sees the jump, he's going to go for that immediate kill. And this is a bit of a problem for the Arkosh lineup, because if they lose a hero like Gremlo, who is not supposed to be the linchpin of your lineup, but without his lockdown, the rest of the team just really doesn't feel very confident pushing in. But now, they don't have much of a choice. They just scanned out the Roche attempt. It's already down to under half HP, so we'll see if they can get here in time. Pale Horse is going to send in the shrapnels. They do throw the blood right down. That's a long roll in from Crow, but it does connect. But the global is going to be deployed. The BKBs come out. The spear doesn't connect, but Dark Mago is buying a lot of time here. The Mortimer Kisses are now going to fly through. Crow gets taken down first, and they are going to lose a second support as well as Gremlo will die. But you do have Canis Vulpus really putting up a fight here on the backline. He was able to get onto both Oscar and Panda, but now he's pretty much by himself. Low HP heroes against him, though. Maybe he can clutch this out as Dark Mago will fall, and so will Matthew. Canis Vulpus with the ultra kill, single-handedly sort of swinging that fight his team's way.
Yeah, and really, question mark for Angel there. He was not helping his team with the Roche. He was instead saying that, oh, they're probably going to give it to us. There's no way they're going to defend here, so he looks for heroes in the bot lane. Then the fight breaks out. It was a really good cancel from him onto the Fiend script, and there wasn't a sniper. He eviscerated him after his own BKB was gone, but then this Arcane Rune Ember Spirit just carries you. Canis Vulpus just put the team on its back for that one, and there's a very low Roche and some very key dead heroes. Unless Angel wants to go headlong into this pit without any BKB. He's looking for Gremlo first, which I think is very smart because it does seem like a free kill, but Aegis over to Canis Vulpus now.
Yep. I mean, Gremlo's just going to lay his life out there, and actually, okay, I thought for a moment maybe Crow was going to be able to get there to cancel that TP. That would have been even bigger if they could have killed off the CK, but even without it, that's a big momentum swing. Canis Vulpus, I mean, he's got the BKB now, as we saw in that last fight. He's got the Aegis in his hands, and he's, what, 1,000 gold off from finishing his Aghanim Scepter. So this could be the turning point. If the Ember can sort of take that step forward, okay, maybe that's the wrong step forward, actually, as he's going to get hit up by the Roar. And they do burn through that first life. They're now set up for a second as Dark Mago's been holding the arena, but a nice silence from Crow. That's going to force the BKB, though. And the combo will still come into play, but Canis Vulpus not dead yet. Able to jump out. They don't quite have the damage to finish him initially. And he will live, but now Angel, he is looking for the kill. Pale Horse has no backup. Crow tries to get in there, actually, and that is a Reality Rift onto the wrong target. Needed to hit up Pale Horse. He is still chasing, but look at the roll. Crow in there with the stun. Gets the kickback as well. Pale Horse not going to die just yet. Crow will sacrifice himself, but if it gets a sniper out, they're going to be happy with it, but there's still 15 seconds on that TP scroll. He's just got to kind of hide out, but it looks like Thunder Predator stopped chasing him. Instead, they focus back mid. They'll take Canis Vulpus out. They're going to get onto Gremlo here as well. So if we can't get the sniper, we'll just get everyone else, I suppose. It's definitely a worthwhile strat for them, and it leads them directly into a push onto the tier 2.
Yeah, and unfortunately, for Canis Vulpes there. Got his BKB force down just way too early. He was really scared, and he really has to be scared. But then there's Matthew with the Ags who just clips him with it, and then suddenly you're getting chain stunned. They lead into each other, and that was without Angel anywhere near. I think maybe he had an illusion sent back to deal with the Ember, but that was about it. There still isn't a good way for them to deal with the aggression, and until Pale Horse gets one more item besides this Mjolnir, it is still going to be very difficult for them to hold the high ground. I think this is going to be the first Rax. Once the sniper's back here, they do have to respect it, but without the Ember, this backline is fearless. You see how forward Pandabu is, and okay, Crow.
That is a heck of a roll forward, but Dark Mago drops his own arena, and the spear doesn't connect rather onto Pale Horse, as he had a BKB of his own. But look at Matthew getting in there, gobbles up his teammate, spits him out, and Crow, well, the first roll very impressive, the second roll a little too ambitious. He doesn't have the BKB to bail him out this time, so I suppose he does do what he set out to, which was push your opponents back, but they got the tier 3 and the melee racks. Those were really kind of the two big ticket items. The range is technically still there, but feels like it's not going to be too big of a difference maker, but at least you prevent anything further. You buy enough time for Canis Vulpes to get back into the match, and maybe now Arkosh can do something.
Yeah, and I mean, Matthew, just with the perfect item build, he just picks you up, gets you out of any danger, gives you that easy reset. And I think if Crow doesn't die in that fashion, then maybe they look for the rego. They inevitably go for the smoke up afterwards. They don't have BKB on Sniper, but still, they're looking for something. And okay, Matthew, pretty far forward, but okay, good BKB.
Wants the kill. They will get Matthew down, but they need to be careful. Angel, he just picked up a Bloodthorn, so he is going to be able to blow up pretty much anybody, as he does go for Gremlo first, able to find that kill. Global Silence now comes out, but Dark Mako actually did get dropped, so that is one of their frontliners taken out of the fight. But look at Pale Horse. He is completely isolated from any assistance. He's just going to get chunked down and finished off. And now Arkosh really can't take this fight anymore. Canis Vulpes is strong, but I don't know if he's sort of 1v4 without his other carries strong, but he is looking to bully Panda. Roar comes in from Oscar, though, and actually this Ember going to get chain stunned. The Roar into the War Stomp. And, yeah. There's a reason why we were saying he's not going to be able to take the fight without his other core, and we can see why. He doesn't have that BKB any longer. Once it's down, he's just way too vulnerable. And Thunder Predator will take the fight. Sure, they don't have Dark Mago, and actually their heroes are kind of low on HP, but with no one to actually fight up against them, Angel could just armlet toggle his way into another push.
Yeah, even just heals up off of the creep wave, and
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But oh, he butt dust. Well,
oh, what the hell?
Well, Matthew, yep.
There was
Do
a
not put him
moment.
in there.
Oh, there was a brief moment where I thought Matthew's just sitting there like, you know what?
Angel in like a death camp.
I will
He actually
absolutely
would've just
grieve my
died.
teammate. Let's go for it. But very wisely decides not to. I mean, at this point, they're looking pretty good, but you don't want to make any sort of throwy play like that. And Monkeys just popped the BKB, so they need to look for something here, as they are going to try and jump in onto Panda, but they don't actually have full vision on him. They're going to try for it now with the Assassinate, but Angel makes his move, jumps onto Pale Horse, blows him up, gets Gremlo a half second later, and now Crow, he's going to go for the kill, just looking for something, but he's not even going to get it. Panda walking away. Will the urn tick him down? Nope. Able to survive through that as well, and that's GG. That's maybe an appropriate way for that one to end. They go all in for a kill onto a silencer that they can't pick up.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Pale Horse there, the unsuspecting Centaur just creeped up on him. It was a Centaur stomp into a Blinken from the CK there that ended up being the sniper's death, but unfortunate. The game really did just start to shift really heavily out of their favor. You take a look at win probability and you just see the chasm after 25 minutes. They just lost any footing on the game. They needed to play so tight. They needed to be so good at really forcing their opponents, but unfortunately, the way the game goes, you heard a fire alarm as well, so uh-oh.
Don't worry, I'll mute it on stream, so it's all good. It's only ET and I who get our ears blasted out, so I was able to see that one coming, so your ears are still safe. But yeah, Thunder Predator really just sees control, as you said, the win probability, the net worth and experience graphs as well, sort of telling that same story. It's kind of the opposite of what happened to Arkosh in their win previously, right? Where they were the team that was behind for so long and then sort of pulled it out on the back end. Thunder Predator, meanwhile, or this time around, sort of take up that role. And for Arkosh, I mean, they were playing honestly pretty well. It just felt like the longer that game went on, the more and more vulnerable Pale Horse ended up being. And we said in the draft, if you can't protect the sniper, there's really not a whole lot that can be done in this game. And Canis Vulpus plays a hell of a match, but again, he can't do it alone.
Yeah, and even though it really did feel like he was going to be the X factor in this game, something that Arkosh did much better, and again, different than any of their previous drafts, they were able to get that pressure off of him. I think if Crow plays maybe a slightly better Earth Spirit game, once he started getting taken down, it's also Thunder Predator just having really good target recognition. They realize that once we take the Earth Spirit out, what is the team fight on the enemy team? If they keep rupturing Dark Mago, he simply BKBs, he bulwarks, he sits down, and then once Matthew gets his Ags, we get him out. I think that was really the target prioritization that started winning Thunder Predator this game. As soon as that Earth Spirit was taken out, it was really 3 or 4 pretty bad deaths that really turned the game on its head. And then we had everyone just really rushing towards those BKBs. They literally all dropped their itemization currently because of how the way the game was going and how it started going. And then unfortunately, you end up in the situation where Panda Boo is suddenly incredibly strong on the silencer. All of your heroes are now really weak versus the global silence. And then the collapse started happening. This was a better game from Arkosh, but still not perfect.
Mm-hmm. Seeing maybe some small steps forward, some incremental improvements, but at this point, uh, incremental is maybe coming a little bit too slowly. They just continue to struggle here. They still have, what, 2/3, a little over half of their schedule remaining in this group stage, so there's still plenty of time, but it has not looked great for them so far. Meanwhile, Thunder Predator continue to play really flawlessly between themselves and Infamous. I don't think either squad has lost a game yet, so they are firing on all cylinders here as Thunder Predator get that 2-0 sweep, and that brings our second series of the day to a close, and that sort of shuts things down for Arkosh as well. Not a fun day for them as they suffer back-to-back 0-2 defeats. So we'll give them a break now. Not going to force Arkosh to play anymore on this day, but we do have more Dota, obviously, on the schedule. We are going to be moving into an all-NA matchup here. It is going to be D2 Hustlers taking on Simply 2-based. D2 Hustlers 1-1. They were actually the team that lost that game to Arkosh, which, as of right now, is maybe a little bit of a black mark on their record, considering how Arkosh has failed to beat anyone else, but they do have an opportunity now to try and get some points on the board against that 2-base lineup that we saw yesterday. So we will be moving into that third series in a little bit here. We're actually kind of running ahead of schedule, so we might need to get the teams in because they weren't expecting to be playing just yet. But as soon as we have them ready to go, we'll bring that Game 1 draft your way. D2 Hustlers versus Simply 2-based coming up next.